Hello traders, right, this is a really off the cuff video, and as I say once in a while, if I don't make them when I think of them, they don't get made. So literally I've been awake about 10 minutes. I think I've exhausted myself, only a short-term thing, through nervous energy, excitement, whatever you want to call it, because when I find new stuff, I really try and get into it and focus on it and learn from it while it's new in my mind. And as a trader, one of my sort of mantras is you never stop learning, and you really do not stop learning. One word from another trader who you respect his methods. And in fact, I know I keep banging on about Roger Banks, but little things that I've picked up from rewatching some of his videos and in honesty, watching them for the first time with perhaps new eyes, if you like, a new sort of perspective. And lots of things chimed with me. He's sort of arrived at the same destination but taken a different path regarding candlesticks, and I was amazed to hear that he did the H4 thing that I've only just really implemented, the big candle reversals at the H4 changes, things like that really resonated with me and made me realise this guy really has done the hard miles, as it were. And as such, it gives you a whole new sort of, me in particular, a whole new perspective. So what we're doing here is a walkthrough of what I do after I've had a break, literally using the dashboard. So it's hard to put into words when you just have 240 characters to put onto a Twitter tweet, but I'll try and get it onto this video in the simplest form I can. And I think one of the things that's really important is I was out yesterday away from charts, and it gave me time to think, and one of the most important things that I forget to mention, and it is very important, is that whilst you need to be meticulous about the way you enter trades, you do not need to be so meticulous about the way you find trades. And I'll try and explain. So, when I present these H4 dashboards and the weekly and the daily and all that lot, and the H1 now and the M30, it would be easy as a newer trader, and especially a newer person to these, and a new person to other people's methods, my method, if you've come from, say, for example, the Strat, or you've perhaps been studying Wicks Don't Lie and Raja, and you've found me, or vice versa, is that I have this 3 candle reversal that is actually pip precise. The 2B reversal is pip precise. The levels are set in stone. Various other people use methods that are almost pip precise in their levels. You've got the Strats, 3 different candles, and all their different versions of the candles. If you're not aware of what the Strat does, you've got 3 candles. One is the inside bar, I think. That's that one. If I'm wrong, I apologise, but there are just 3. 2s are rising and falling candles, and 3s are outside bars. Like a big bar that's outside all the other bars, not a mother bar, the other way around. That's an outside bar. Okay, it is a bar that is bigger than the previous bar, high and low. Okay, that's also an engulfing bar because the open and close is bigger than the previous bar. So there are lots of subtle differences, but three different bars on the strat. So, we've all got our precise candles and our precise levels. So, getting to the point, with this H4, I can see we've got 191 minutes and 37 seconds counting down till the next H4. So what does that tell me? It tells me we've had movement. That was the old H4. We've broken the low of that H4 and we have a downward movement. So I instantly know from just the new candle, the one that is 2 hours 240 minutes rather, is a H4 bar, so roughly 50 minutes into the new bar. Not quite an hour. That's important as well, actually. But so we've got an hour of downtrend, downwards movement on this Aussie CAD and Aussie US dollar, and we've had 3 4-hour candles and the 1 hour roughly of this new candle of a downtrend. High, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, and so on and so forth. Strong movement down. So I can also see clearly from just this thing, this pane here, that we've actually broken the low of a H4 candle on the left-hand side there. It isn't technically strictly a 3-candle reversal yet until the close below that candle's low, which would be this one here, in 190 minutes time. But the H1 is critically, the H1 I can tell from this dashboard is about to close below that support there. So that would then lead me to more investigation. But the whole point of this video is, and the big spiel about the timings and the precision and all that lot, is that has told me to look at that, and there is a possible trade there right now forming in front of my eyes because of that short amount of analysis I just gave you there off the cuff. This is literally, I have opened this chart 5-10 minutes before I decided to make this video, and that is what I see. There's tons of other stuff on here, tons, and that's the reason for this video too. But let me get to before we excuse me, before we come off of this, let me get to the other side of things. So had I not found that trade there, because that is a potential trade, it's a potential bounce as a result of the H1 closing in a minute below there, reversal, massive downtrend, deserves a potential quick reversal on the H1 chart. We'd have to look at the H1, we'd have to study the supply and demand, support and resistance, we'd have to study where it is in relation to everything else. Then, because of this fantastic set of charts I've got here, and they are pretty random, to be honest with you. The only thing I've done by design is stick to of these down here, the cryptos, because I do love to wind the crypto guys up, because they are a heap of junk in my opinion. Apologies if that upsets anyone, but they are just toys. FX is toys, to be honest with you. They're all toys. The commodities, they are all manipulated for the billionaires and trillionaires just to make money at our expense, at everyone else's expense, to be honest with you. But we follow those billionaires, we follow their evil manipulative moves, and we make money from them. I couldn't care less about blockchain or what Bitcoin is doing or anything like that. All I'm interested in is making my money on my 5-minute, 1 minute lasting, should I say, 1 minute from hitting the button to making my money, or 5 minutes or whatever it takes. That's all I'm interested in. Entering that trade, closing with a profit, and then going and doing something great with the money. So let's get back to, so these are a random set of charts really. I've arranged a few dollar pairs over here and gold so that I can get a feel for what dollar does. We've got a few random really indices here too, but all of these relate. You've got dollar index, you've got gold against the dollar, you've got these that, when people are getting out of stocks, they buy the dollar. So when stocks are going down, generally, not always, the dollar might start to go up. So we can correlate all of those. We've got a few Aussie pairs over here, just randomly arranged as well. I should do a better job about them. We've got the cable, Euro USD, Swissy. Swissy tends to be the opposite of the antithesis of Euro USD. It used to be a real strong correlated chart, so if one's going up, the other tends to be going down, and you can see 3 down H4s and 3 up H4s, as it were, or at least green. What have we got going on? Euro GBP, I keep that on just in case someone mentions it and I can quickly find what it's doing. And then various pound pairs arranged randomly, fairly closely together. So that's, I'm really relaxed about everything. What was, we had an alert, it's 2:54 in the morning here actually. So we've got 6 minutes to the next H1. So I've looked at that quickly, and what I did also is looked at the daily, see whether there were any massive daily candles. Like I mentioned yesterday, here this was a 3CR down. We could see, because this candle didn't exist, we could see a clear 3 candle reversal with a massive red candle into potentially what looked like support, and I said this looks good for a bounce, and look what happened. So that's why I look at the daily charts. I can't see anything super duper interesting here, but what I would be looking for is possible inside bars or possible tiny bars on the previous day, not the new day. This is today, this is the previous day. So tiny little bars on the previous day would mean a consolidation day and potentially breakout day today. So we can clearly see if we broke out high or if we broke out low on that one, these little bars. This one's breaking out to the downside. We've got a downtrend, a pullback, continuation. So this today looks definitely down, and if I can see Aussie dollar looks interesting to the downside. Not all of them, as you can see. Yen pairs are weak as anything because of various interest rate decisions in Japan, apparently. I heard that on a live feed yesterday. So you can glean so much from these. Relatively small bar after 3 big bars on the US tech indices. Oops, apologies about that. That's Aaron's 3CR indicator pinging away, by the way. So daily charts tell you a massive amount too, but as I mentioned on the H4 chart, don't get bogged down by tiny little details like levels and so on and so forth, round numbers. They all are all useful and can be used. It's just something I don't really need to use at the moment. But you decide what you want to do, how you want to trade these things. They are a wealth of information. So weekly I could refresh myself as I gradually blow the cobwebs out of my head. I do this. This is exactly what I do. If I've got a bit of a foggy mind as to because I've maybe had loads of distractions during the day yesterday away from charts, then I will catch up on the weekly as well. It is that simple. That simple. And that's how I use them. You are seeing in real time me building up a picture of what I want to trade, What can we see on here instantly? Right, well, inside bar there being broken out of to the long side, New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. So that looks strong to the upside. So just focusing on that one pair there, we can see there is definitely a bias to the long side. So if we then look at the daily on that same pair, we are struggling to get outside of this yesterday's range, the high and the low, but remember we are biased to the long side, so we could just easily then walk away from that or make a plan, put a level on the high of that, assess our lower time frame charts and see if we could get a trade either to test the high of that daily push there using the H4 and then H1 and M30 and so on and so forth. It is that straightforward. That's it. That's a plan. So having a look now at the H4, there's that daily indecision there, but remember the weekly always gives us our bias. So if you came into that, you'd have no clue what that's doing, but by looking at the weekly we can clearly see it is really biased to the long side. So any indication that I could get a long trade, I would possibly take it. But remember, these dashboards enable me to find the absolute AAA, triple plus trades. So that isn't anywhere near a AAA, triple plus quick trade to take and then get out on the golf course or on a boat or whatever you happen to enjoy doing. So lots better examples, but that NZD CHF, whilst I think the bias is possibly slightly to the long side based on that weekly, that daily and H4 chart don't tell me an enormous amount. So making this video for you guys, obviously I'm missing tons and tons, but trying to find a proper trade would be a lot more straightforward for me because I'd be more focused. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps doing that. So back to the, that's the H1, apologies. Back to the H4, and we are now 3 o'clock. The hourly chart has changed, so let's have a look at that Aussie dollar, US dollar. It's not the best pair to trade. It's slow. It's just as an indication of what. Let's dig deep into that. And going back to finding trades. So yesterday, this is exactly the way I would have found the trade. I got home, I looked at the H4, I looked at what, something like that. I would prefer to see that exact pattern, say on a more volatile pair, one of the indices or something, or GJ for example, and that would probably give me a 10 pip bounce or something like that, or a 15 pip possible reversal, of which I can take 7 or 8 pips out of. There's lots and lots of better charts, but I'm not going to go into them right now. So we'll just look at AUD and then I will sort of close up this video. So onto the actual charts now, AUD USD. But the point I'm trying to make is, don't get bogged down by the tiny little minutiae of all these different trading methods. There you go, look, we've got the H1 and it is trying to pull back now, and that's it. Oh no, that's the M15, apologies, but it all ties in. There's that little pullback. So during the day and the more busier time, that would be a potential trade. As I said, if this was a more volatile pair, that would be a lovely opportunity, and that's it. So we've got the time of day, the time of the H4 bar, the time of the H1 bar, all brought into the equation. The volatility of the current pair, the level that we're at. We can clearly see this is at a level of support. Don't worry about too much about the SS support and resistance indicator there. But if this was deeper into this, then I would be all over this like a rash. As it is, it's just going to be potentially a very short-term reversal, and it would be a bit too risky. But Raja Banks will sit there for hours and hours and hours. Well, not hours and hours and hours, but hours and hours, 1 or 2 hours, and wait for a trade and then walk away with no trade. We are slightly different in that respect, because whilst I'm sure away from the charts he will be taking anything and everything that matters to him, as a great disciplined teacher, really impressed with that. He is teaching you discipline in front of your eyes. Look at that pullback there. So let's have a look at M1, and see what that's doing. So we can put the vertical on the new bar, and we can we'll go down by time frame. So we're on H1 now, and it's doing exactly what I thought it would do regarding based on that dashboard scenario we looked at. M30, then we can, this is another sort of thing of my trading method as well. Looking at the bars and their closes, multi-time frame momentum trade, I call this, and what the multi-time frame momentum indicators we have here are telling us. This is more of a trend indicator, but this is the momentum indicator. But I love this for divergence, the TMA slope. Absolutely adore this little indicator, and the RSI histo is a life changer for me. Look up bust, pullback, break and close videos, and put bust into my refined search on Twitter, and you'll find all the lots and lots, because it's quite an unusual keyword. You'll find tons of information about the strategy. And if you left one or two things on your charts, all you need is your candles and this RSI histo. Aaron's fantastic indicator. You could also use Dinesh's fantastic indicator. Aaron's is the Rebel Ant 3CR. Find the downloads on his websites, and Dinesh, you will find a link to that in my pinned tweet, or and that's just the arrows connected to the RSI histo. Fantastic, I love it. But we talked about that in other videos, so that's all you'd need on your charts. The RSI histo, bust, pullback, break, close. Add that to any strategy, you know, the strat and various other ones, and I think it will improve your trading. So as you can see, this is pulling back nicely. The H1 and M30 obviously closed at the same time. The M15 will have closed at the same time as well, so that's got some information to be gleaned from that. The M5, obviously, we are now at just the M5 has just closed. New M5 formed. So Raja would say we've just formed support here, and if this was a better, you know, if this was a 30-minute, he would have hit this trade here, because I think it would have been a good opportunity, because the stop would be below there, but I again would modify that slightly and use the lower time frames, and to tighten my stops even, and to scalp this with a relative amount of long, I should say, with a relative amount of confidence. So onto M1, and we will potentially see a few things on here. Divergence, it's not the best divergence, as I said. There's still that distance to go before it really does hit supply. So if you hadn't done all the analysis I'd done on this, you would potentially get caught into a possible long and see it then, I've seen it 1,000 times, push down to that supply down below, demand rather down below support, and then take your stops out and then reverse. Remember, the algos are constantly looking for liquidity, but for a quick scalp, because of the analysis I'd given you on the H4 chart, as you can see, this has pushed up from the low, and you know, in the old days and even now, if I've got the conviction that I think this is going to bounce, you know, your stop that's 1.2 pips, you know, 2 pip stop, and that's a 5 pip move. You know, you've got your spread to take into account and all that malarkey, but that some people make their living from 2 or 3 pips. That is a 2 or 3 pip clean trade with a 1 pip stop, and it's all happened in minutes, you know, 6 minutes since that candle closed and the new one opened, and that's the pullback. So that's what I do all day long, guys. But the point of this video was really to show you or try to encourage you to think outside the box when you're finding your trades, because the point being, I've just opened these charts at a crazy time, 55 minutes or 50 minutes into a new H4 bar, not on the bar, close and open, not precision timing. I've opened it when I woke up or got home or you know, just finished my tea, any time of day, 24 hours a day, and you can find trades. But that's not to say you just hit them. That's the comparison I was trying to make. We can use very relaxed, informal ways to find trades, like I said, 50 minutes into a new H4 bar, but we have to use the precise and exacting rules that we've built with all these different methods here and on all the different other traders' methods. You know, I just mentioned the two, Strat, or three should I say, Strat, 3CR and Roger Banks' stuff. We use the precision, disciplined, patient methods to enter our trades. So relaxed methods to find them, and that's why I'm finding trades all over the place, and precision methods with absolute discipline to trade them. See how that has just pushed up to that 34 EMA in the centre there. I know a lot of people don't like EMAs and stuff, and they think I'm crazy with them on my charts, but I use them when it agrees with what I do, and you know, like I would expect this potentially to test that 89 EMA. Oops. And I can see through them, ignore them if you like, when I have other more important biases on my charts, like clear old candle highs and lows, that supply area we talked about, that all the other various stuff. So I sort of I'm fortunate now, because I've been doing this for so long, I have selective indicator blindness. But if I were you and starting on this, then I would probably just concentrate on this thing here, and as I said, Rebel Ant, Aaron, Intrepid Noodle, whatever you want to call him, Aaron's fantastic 3CR indicator, and maybe Dinesh's arrows, just to keep you, educate you really, because you know, when you see that's the Volbomb arrow, it's slightly different than the red and blue, telling me that we've had a fast move. It's showing you this situation here, but that's another search term that you could plug into the various the two sites I've got. Volbomb from Simon Anderson, thanks Simon, is the fast move from red to big red to tiny green in an up move, and maybe the settings aren't quite, oh no, there it is hiding behind there, fast candle telling us we've had this situation here. So lots of interesting little things, and they will educate you, you know. Don't rely on them to trade, but rely on them to point out the various, you know, the 3CRs and the RSI histo and the Volbomb. They will educate you as to what to look out for, because you can't deny, you know, we've had our Volbomb or we've had our RSI histo entry on the RSI, and there it is there, and look, massive move. They show you when momentum. People like Raja would just say, oh well, volume's come into the market, we've had a load of little candles, then we've had a big candle, that's all he needs. Fantastic trader. All I try and do with all these different indicators is allow you to think slightly differently. We all learn differently. This leads me to another point. Some traders would say it's my way or the highway, do as I say, and ignore indicators, ignore everyone else's methods. In fact, my mentor did that, to the point that he said Elliott Wave was rubbish, he's studied it, you don't need to. Things like that. But it isn't good, in my opinion. It might be good to get you into the odd winning trade, and you think you're the best thing since sliced bread, but you will not understand the rounded view of the market. I never did really study Elliott wave because of what that guy said, but saying that, I understand what it does, and I think in fact my 3 candle reversal and the various swings that they represent are a version of Elliott wave, so with the 5 swings and the ABC pullback and all that malarkey. So here we go. This is still doing what I expected it to do based on that 4-hour chart, and that would have been a winning trade for me, but I wouldn't have chosen AUD USD as out of choice. Let's see if any of the other gold would potentially move the same way. Any USD pair may have worked the same way. That's correlation. So let's have a quick look at the H4 panel again, see what gold did. Yeah, gold has had a pop up, is popping up there, and any other USD pairs reversing. Remember, we shouldn't be looking at H4, we should be looking at H1. I do apologise. So there's your Aussie dollar reversal. Sorry about that, I should have flipped to the H1. All of these Aussie pairs have reversed on that H1. Gold, that's a nice old reversal. Look, everything, all those H1s have reversed. I mean, how? Oh God. Trades everywhere, absolutely everywhere, as a result of that H1 midway through an H4 bar, and I spotted it using this thing here. Massive. All of these moves are massive. Let's have a look at that gold. What an amazing move, really. And I would have been all over that, and that I would have potentially, I make so many trades that I don't post on Twitter, but I would have potentially posted this, and you're probably thinking to yourself, he doesn't get all those trades, there is no way, but there is a way, that move on gold. And this one's done a little bit of what I said. It's caught us in. There's the new hour, so we're now 15 minutes into the hour. It's popped up, pushed down, taking your stops, and then popped up again. Apologies, they don't bother me in the least bit. I don't even hear those things. So the first move, if you'd have been a bit naughty and broken every rule I've just talked about, a potential just hit that, then that would have that's 7 pips. So I could have got my 3, 4, 5 pips out of that move that I often do, I have to say, but I don't post those. There is divergence there. So loads of reasons for a scalper, a really ill-disciplined scalper, to have a bash. And this is what I was trying to explain on Twitter yesterday, is that Raja has made me look at candles, because he would say, right, okay, we've made support, two lows bouncing, we've got divergence there. He doesn't use divergence, but I do. So he would say, on a 30-minute chart, put your stop here. Once that candle has turned green, put your stop below the low of it, because that is what he would call his bullish. I use the term trigger. I can't remember what he says. I've only watched his videos once or twice. And then trade the break of that. So we had the pullback, which we expect to happen, and then the new green bar, because it would have to be, well, it's messy in this instance, but let's just say it went up nicely without that drawdown. Then it's only a 3 pip scalp, but and then you would have got taken out. So that was a naughty, nasty little example. But and apologies, perhaps I shouldn't have got excited about this, but I did say that Aussie dollar had supply, demand below, support below. Sorry, I get my S's and supports and supplies mixed up sometimes. Said it would probably pop back, do what I said it would do, and then burst up. So there's a 10 pip move there. All of those H1 charts have done, have made these amazing bounces. And I did say there would be short term also, and look what's happened. You know, you've got to be fast. I use the term scalpers have fast fingers, and they do. But the whole point of this video was finding trades using unusual methods, imprecise methods, but trading them with really strict rules. So sorry I've gone a bit off topic, but that was the point of this video, really, to show you that you can find trades using your brain, using the dashboards, thinking outside the box, which is, you know, you've just seen exactly how I would have found a trade, and I wouldn't have just picked that, and I wouldn't have just picked that. I would have looked at all the other time frames as well, the M30s, the M15, M5s, and found what I consider to be the best example. It may well have been DAX, although the spread overnight is horrendous on that thing, but it may well have been the US 30. But really and truthfully, you should still be looking for shorts, just simple things like a wick that could possibly fill to the downside, you know, or alternatively, rather than trade these bounces, look to trade safer in the direction of the trend, you know, for all sorts of different reasons. That's actually a relatively odd looking 3CR, but I should stop now while I'm up, otherwise this video won't get processed and posted. So there you go, guys. Woke up, and I won't go into why, and rolled over, as it were, and opened a few charts and found potential trades. And that is what I do. And hopefully, you know, if you combine all these different methods I talk about and pick the best bits out of them, you will become a better trader because of it. Really glad that did what I thought it would do, and really glad I've put this video together. So thanks for watching. Please do like and comment if it has had any value whatsoever for you. Apologies about the rambling nature of it, but I haven't even had a coffee yet, and that is what I'm about to make for myself now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.